مرحبا وأهلا بكم في خارج المسار. أنا توني نداف. حلقة اليوم ستكون عن هواة جمع وتجميع الأشياء، والمقصود هنا ليس جمع القطع المعدودة القليل من هنا وهناك، بل المقصود ذلك التجميع الذي يتم بشغف لا متناهٍ، بحيث يعيش أمثال هؤلاء قسطاً كبيراً من حياتهم في هذا الشغف، وفي بعض الحالات ينفقون قدراً كبيراً من المال لاقتناء مجموعة ما، وقد ينجح المحظوظون منهم بتكوين مجموعات قد تبلغ قيمتها في بعض الأحيان الملايين. غير أن المال ليس الدافع الوحيد، فالأمريكيون ببساطة يهوون جمع الأشياء التي تجعلهم سعداء، من علب الصلصة الحارة إلى دوما باربي إلى 50,000 فستان لإحدى الزوجات. قد يبدو هذا الأمر غريباً للبعض، ولكن في خارج المسار الغريب يصبح مفهوماً ومعقولاً. دعونا نلتقي الآن السيدة إيميلي تويرلز التي تعيش حياتها في عصر آخر، فهي تعشق الحقبة التي عرفت بأتوميك 50s بالخمسينات النووية. هذه الفترة التاريخية الممتدة من عام 1940 إلى عام 1963، عندما هيمنت المخاوف على المجتمع الغربي من اندلاع حرب نووية أثناء الحرب الباردة، فبرزت بشكل مفاجئ ظواهر جديدة مثل عصر الفضاء، وساهمت بانتشار أسلوب تصاميم الخمسينات النووية وجعلها معروفة. وبالنسبة لإيميلي وزوجها، السعادة هي أن تعيش في تلك الحقبة التاريخية تحديداً. ولم لا؟ فبإمكان أي منا أن يختار العصر الذي يرغب في العيش فيه. Emily Twirls. Hello, hello.
Nice
I'm
to
Tony.
meet you. Thank you so much for coming.
So nice to meet you. Look at this gorgeous 50s look.
Thank you.
Show me. Oh my God. This is really beautiful. And I guess this is not everything, right?
Oh no, just the beginning. Come on in. Now you take the whole tour.
I would love that. Thank you. Wow. This is really cool.
Thank you.
Very, very nice. What do we have here?
So this would be my formal dining room. So one of the things I really loved about the house was I had room to entertain. And so this is a display of my favorite vintage dishware, Franciscan Starburst. I mean, that's pretty much the definition of Atomic 50s, right?
Exactly.
Those are actual stars.
That's the definition. Exactly. Wow, they're beautiful.
See, even the candle
Candles.
holders are like little rocket ships.
Yeah.
And then those are vintage lucite candles. So all the way.
This is really beautiful.
Aw.
And what do we have here?
So I love lamps. The crazier, the better. So this is like the lollipop lamp is really cool. And those wall plaques are actually Reglor, which is a company that primarily made lamps. But these are the wall plaques, which you see less often.
Clearly you love lamps, because I see some more lamps here.
Oh, definitely. That is a large theme. But honestly, the thing that I am most excited about here would be this fabulous piece of wall art.
What's so special about it?
It's a CJURE, which is considered brutalist and actually a little bit after the 50s. But again, you really can't say that that's not atomic. That's the actual solar system. I love it.
This is really beautiful. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. Wow. Let's continue the tour.
Absolutely. So this is the kitchen. It's still a work in progress.
Nice.
So this is my vintage refrigerator. Walked into a thrift store. It was there running. Super proud because it's all original inside, but the front of it was all messed up. It was rusted and white and ugly. Yep, the whole outside of it. So I spent 4 days sanding it all down, painting it the perfect shade of pink.
They
It
perfectly
was
match.
worth it. It definitely a labor of
And
love.
this pink phone as well.
Right?
Like, where did you
You have
find
to dial the operator.
Exactly. Where did you find it?
Flea market. It's
Wow.
where the stuff
This is the beauty of it, right?
Exactly.
And this
Table came from the flea market right here in San Diego, but again, it was all rusted and nasty, and I spent many hours buffing out the chrome. And
Wow.
now
So they're not always in perfect shape, right?
No, definitely not.
A radio so you can listen to some music while cooking.
Right, as long as it's AM. Look, I love that color. I'm such a sucker for that nice minty color, very iconic.
And typical 50s, right?
Exactly.
It's beautiful. Tell me, Emily, how did you get into collecting Atomic 50s pieces, and when did this start?
It really started for me with the fashion. The very first thing I ever collected were lucite purses, which to me are just amazing works of art. They're all unique. So, I mean, it's really special when you can find one and rescue it. But collecting purses turned into collecting clothes, which then just turned into the whole life.
And why the 1950s specifically? What's so special about it?
That's what spoke to me. When I feel most like myself, when I find what I truly loved, it was wearing the full skirts and twirling and doing all those things that just, they're cute and they're kitschy and they're fun. I love the playfulness of it.
You seem to be like the expert source for someone who wants to know more about Atomic 50s. How would you describe this era?
It's all the inventiveness and new materials and things that came out of the post-war era, where they were starting the space race, starting to look at different things that were influencing all aspects of life. All of a sudden, why does our clock or our lamp need to be just a function? It can also be something fabulous.
Tell me more about Emily, about that girl. Describe her to me before adopting the 50s look.
I guess it's when I made a conscious decision that the way I presented myself to the world mattered. I was a professional ballet dancer when I met my husband. That's what I was doing, and I spent all my time and energy on that. And as I transitioned out of doing that, it's kind of gave me this opportunity to decide what it is that I truly loved. And so that was a lot about finding myself and finding the fashion and finding what makes me feel like me.
Was there a specific moment in your life that triggered this transition into like complete Atomic 50s or 50s, you know, look and fashion and everything?
It was really when I got together with my husband. He came with the interest in the furniture side of it, and then I was already interested in the fashion, and now we're just unstoppable. We never have a better time than when we go across the country, antiquing, picking, finding treasures. That's our happy place. I don't dress like this for attention. I don't dress like this for other people. I dress like this because it's what I love. And honestly, if I could go back and dress like this in 1958, that'd be fabulous. I'd be great with that. But I can't actually go back, so this is the next best thing.
Nice. I like it. Beautiful pattern. Nice.
إيميلي قدمت لي عرض أزياء خاص من أزياء الخمسينات طبعاً.
Nice. I like this one. And the red and the necklace is like really nice.
وقد كانت سعيدة جداً وهي تقدم لي هذه الفساتين التي تعود للزمن الذهبي.
Nice.
Hand-painted.
That's a very exotic 50s, right?
Yes, there was a whole obsession as the GIs came back from World War II. There was all this fascination with the South Pacific.
لا يتاح لك كل يوم أن تلتقي بعارضة تقدم لك عرضاً خاصاً.
Wow.
This one actually has a good story. It's a vintage prom dress, and I actually thrifted it.
This is my favorite. Really. Oh my God. Beautiful. Beautiful. This one is awesome. Really.
هيا بنا نكمل جولتنا.
Wow. This is really cool. Where are we here, Emily?
The formal living room. I love shadow boxes. They were made by the Illinois Molding Company, and what's special about this one particularly, I believe it was actually a one-off, a demo from the factory, which is pretty cool.
That's a really unique piece, right?
Yes, definitely. And I have this giant Starburst clock. It's actually the biggest Starburst clock that I believe they made. My husband found this at the estate sale in Spring Valley. He was first in line. That's, again, one of the tricks. You have to be an early bird. That's how you get all the good stuff.
Exactly. Wow. This is really awesome. And the furniture, I mean, the couches, pink couches?
Pink couches. I like to think that they kind of look like cars. You know, they have like the metal bars, so they have the grating. They came from the San Fernando Valley, and they have that great silver Lorex in the fabric.
I mean, everything about it is beautiful.
Aw.
Yalla, what's next for us? Let's go.
Yeah.
Nice. This is a fireplace.
Yes, came with the house. Definitely one of the selling points.
Wow. This is really cool. And this chair here is, again, pink, right?
Right, pink and kind of looks like a rocket. Look at those arms. But what's cool about that chair is my husband and I actually drove up to LA to rescue it and bring it home. And it has a manufacturer tag on the bottom of that ottoman. It was created 2 blocks from our apartment where we were living at the time.
No way.
We brought it home. Yes, it was meant to be ours.
Wow, this is really cool. And this one is beautiful.
That is one of our proudest achievements. That's our Whitco World wall art, and we found it one very early morning at the Long Beach Flea Market. It was a wish list item. It's one of those like iconic pieces that we just love. It has the right amount of tiki and the right amount of mid-century.
And Emily, like when you find those items, like are they always in good shape or it requires sometimes?
I think that's definitely a big part of it, is knowing what you can bring back, knowing how to bring it back. Once in a while you do find those fabulous people that, like, I do have a sectional couch in there that was wrapped in plastic in someone's formal living room like its entire life. I gotta be the one to take off the plastic. So it's like new, yep, like new. I love going to thrift stores and really finding things, and that is definitely part of where my education has come from, because you'll walk through and you'll find something and go like, well, is it old? And then you start like researching. I know, I pull out my very modern cell phone, it's true, so I can research my very vintage item.
And how do you find those places, like, and the pieces and everything? How do you do, like, how do you know about them?
One of the things that we look at is what the population growth looked like during the time period. So that's something that's been really successful when we do cross-country trips. We look at cities and towns that were in full growth during our time period, because you know that the items we're looking for were purchased and distributed there. So you're more likely to find them at a thrift store, at an antique shop in the area.
So there's a tracking that you do?
Oh, there definitely is. And it's actually really cool too, because distribution was less wide in that time period. When you go to the different regions, you see different things.
Is there any process do you do just to vet, like, the credibility of the piece or the finding?
We definitely have our tricks to know if they're old. There's certain stickers you can look for on the lamps, or like with clothing, if it has a metal zipper, it's usually older. Look for that telltale Made in the USA stamp.
Wow, I bet you can spend hours in a store like this, right?
Really? I love it.
Do you get lost, like, in time when you're here?
Exactly. So it's really funny. My husband and I have like a deal. We'll do like right, left, so we can cover more ground.
Yeah, because the more you see, the more you get, like, really, right, confused about what to buy. And what do we have here?
Oh, look at the lighter. She's a pretty one, right?
It's really nice.
The lovely lady lighter.
Yep.
Definitely
nice
from the period.
Yep.
All the good barware. Look at the gold. I love things like that.
Some shakers down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff, right? Interesting.
Oh, look.
What's this?
Did you see my pink poodle at home?
Oh,
I have
yeah.
Princess the poodle.
On
Look,
the
this
couch,
is Pierre the poodle. Yeah.
This is really cool.
Oh, he's super cute. Look,
I think you should check it out.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to see that. Thank you.
Wow.
Look how cute it is. Look, even his necklace is diamonds, his collar. Any true atomic poodle should have a diamond necklace. Matches my necklace, right?
Oh, so the sign here is that the necklace, right?
I like the diamonds.
Yeah, the diamond necklace.
I think that's cute.
Wow.
I think I need to give Pierre a good home. What do you think?
That's a good idea.
Definitely.
It goes perfectly with what I saw at your place.
من الواضح أن إيميلي سترغب دائماً في شراء المزيد، وهي الآن ستعرفنا على غرفة نومها المستوحاة بالكامل من حقبة الخمسينات النووية ومجموعاتها الكاملة.
So this is the master bedroom.
Oh, wow. I can see more pink in here.
My pink ballet room, yes.
Beautiful.
This art here, you see how it has like the cool frames that are asymmetric? It's just like that. They're actually the same artist. It's Carlo of Hollywood. It's something that we collect a lot. It's really cool. There's a lot of mystery around it because Carlo's a real person. It's rumored that he was actually the set designer in I Love Lucy, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah. And then to keep with my theme, this is one of my favorite moss lamps because she's a ballerina and she's pink and she spins.
And you're a
What
ballerina
else
too.
could you need in a lamp?
Like literally every item has a story. Very last question.
Yeah.
What would be the most precious item? The closest to your heart?
One, this is my wedding ring. It's actually estate jewelry. It's from the 1950s and it never had to be sized, so it's from my twin from the 1950s.
So the story of the item, right? You agree with me?
Yes, we love the stories. It's special when you get to buy from the family.
And for how long do you think you're gonna keep doing it?
Oh, this is a lifelong thing. Absolutely. This is our forever home and it will forever be adjusting and changing and that'll be an adventure.
عندما نعود سنشاهد مجموعة ألعاب ولعب تقدر قيمتها بمليوني دولار تحوي أكثر من 80,000 لعبة. نعم، مجموعة أكثر من ضخمة.
Welcome to my doll room.
Wow, doll room?
Something for the ladies. No sports, no dumb stuff, just strictly dolls.
المعروف عن الأمريكيين أنهم شعب يهوى جمع الأشياء النادرة والغريبة منها والعادية، إذ تجدهم يجمعون بطاقات البيسبول ويجمعون العملات النادرة وتوقيعات نجوم الرياضة والأفلام وغيرها الكثير من الأشياء. فالتجميع كان ولا يزال هواية ممتعة للكثيرين. لكن كيف يكون الحال عندما تتحول هذه الهواية البسيطة إلى أسلوب كامل لحياة إنسان؟ بحثاً عن إجابة نحن اليوم في مدينة فيلادلفيا التي تعتبر مكان مولد الولايات المتحدة نفسها. فهي المدينة التي التقى فيها المشرعون المؤسسون الأوائل، تناقشوا، تشاوروا واتفقوا على تأسيس البلد الجديد. فيلادلفيا هي موطن جرس الحرية ومكان مولد وثيقة الاستقلال. وهي أيضاً المدينة التي يعيش فيها مستضيفنا اليوم رونالد توبي، رجل أمضى معظم حياته وكرسها لتجميع اللعب. توبي يملك الآن مجموعة ضخمة تقدر قيمتها بمليوني دولار، فهي تحوي أكثر من 80,000 لعبة. فلديه غرفة الثلج وغرفة الحرب لعام 1941، غرفة الملاكمة وغرفة إفريقية وغرفة يسميها غرفة فلوريدا. وقد اضطره الأمر لشراء بيت أكبر لاستيعاب هذه المجموعة الهائلة من اللعب والألعاب. دعونا نلتقي الآن برجل الألعاب ونرى بأعيننا هذه المجموعة الاستثنائية. Hi Toby, how are you? So good to see you. How are you? Wow. Wow. What do we have here?
You have my man castle.
Main castle. It is
Most
indeed.
people get a cave, but I got a castle.
I would definitely use a tour in this castle.
Oh, you get me.
Which room are we in here?
Right now you're in the sports room. You have the Eagles.
Eagles.
You have Wayne Gretzky's hockey sticks. I got 2 of them.
That's really awesome, and up on the wall as well.
The mini helmets, all the mini helmets.
What do we have here on this wall?
We have the 2005 NFL championship with the New England Patriots beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And a lot of people ask about
Why? Why would you want to remember this moment?
because here, that's why I bought that ball, because we got our revenge back. Super Bowl 50, Philadelphia Eagles 41, New England Patriots 33. So we got our revenge. There's our championship ring, and there's the mead. Nobody ever heard of mead before.
There you go. This is really awesome. I guess this is the basketball section here?
This is the basketball section.
Wow. How many pieces do you have in this?
A couple hundred pieces.
And I'm sure there he is, Michael Jordan. Wow. What's this piece? Tell me about it.
This is Michael Jordan by Upper Deck. And if you'll notice, Tony, he has a gold chain on.
Oh, wow. That's right.
On top of it, that's a Michael Jordan watch. Go with his locker.
Yes. What are these? These lockers too?
That's Jordan's lockers.
Wow,
They're
man.
for kids. They're not real lockers, but that's the one they put out for Jordan.
But we don't find them anymore.
Come to me, I'll find you some.
I'm sure, everything. Oh, wow. What do we have here? Which room is this one?
This is the African room.
Wow. Interesting. Where did you collect all these pieces from? Did you have to travel or?
A lot of traveling, bought a lot of coral at a high price back then, but it paid off today. I have a coral reef, nobody else has one.
This one here on the wall, wow.
It's all coral.
This is really like African mood, African vibes. And what do we have here?
We have the Battle of Rorke's Drift, 1879. These are the sets that Forbes collected before he passed, but he's still the richest man in the world. And I'll let you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, show me. Wow. So what's the story behind these pieces here?
These are the Zulus. Only people that defeat the British were the Zulus. Forbes collected this. He moved this set from England. He had thousands of pieces. I don't have that many, but I have a little piece of what Forbes like, which is Steadfast Soldiers.
Wow. A lot of history in this room.
Yes.
Let's continue our tour. What do we have next? Wow, that's a lot of boxing stuff here.
We're in the boxing room. It's one of my favorite sports. Only place a little guy gets a shot.
Look at these gloves here.
Those are the ceremonial gloves from the Blue Horizon, one of the boxing meccas in Philadelphia. Everybody that fought in the Blue Horizon signed the glove, and a few of my friends, I had to run them down, Tim Witherspoon and this guy, to get them to sign the gloves. We have gloves signed by Ali, gloves signed by Frazier, and we have the championship belt. Now, I won't tell you whose belt it is, but it is a championship belt.
I see a lot of Ali's, like pictures and frames, and especially this one over there.
This over here was when Ali was stripped of the title. They took his title, so he couldn't box anymore. So what he did, he went to Broadway to make money. I'm glad he could box, because he sure can sing. And that record will prove he cannot sing.
Wow, man, that's really, really impressive, Ru.
You think that's impressive? Introduce you to my little friend.
What's this?
This is a Victrola.
Wow.
This is all, no electric at all. This is the way it used to go.
Life could be a dream, life could be a dream. Life could be a dream.
Only one for you, the life would be a dream. Thomas Edison made the first records. This is the first record Thomas Edison made.
Wow. Where did you get this one from?
I searched around. I have a whole collection in that case. Turn around to that case right there. See all of them in there? I have my record collection. So it went from this to this.
To this.
To the 45, to the rest is history.
This is really awesome. Toby, tell me your story with collecting. When did you start doing?
I started collecting when I was about 12 years old. I used to go to the job with my uncle. He worked at a toy factory. And Saturday I would go with him and clean the offices. And he would say, I'll pay you, just take what you want. I never took any money, I took the toys. And that's how I started. And every time I would do somebody a chore, if I could get a toy from you, I was more happy. I would do anything. Just, I'll cut your grass, I'll wash your car. Just buy me a toy. And that's followed me into this day.
How much money did you spend, do you think, on this collection?
Thousands. You notice I like dolls. You notice I like dioramas. I like oceanic things. And you know what, it's actually, for me, it's actually seeing other people happy. For me, that's what it is. It's people that wasn't privy enough to have things, I bring it back to you. You don't see what you used to see. You used to find everything you want, but now, what used to be a flea is now everything is collectible.
Let's say someone knocked at your door right now and offered to buy this entire collection that you've been building for years and years now. What would be your asking price?
Everything I have downstairs, you can't buy it anymore. That's the value of it to me.
But would you sell it?
One thing about a collector in his collection, he'll keep it to the very end. he'll keep it till he's damn near dead.
Toby, tell me, what's the most precious, most expensive item or piece you have within this collection?
I used to say, if this house caught on fire, what room would I try to rescue? That would be the model room.
Why the model room?
Because I started building those models at 12 years old, and I've had them ever since. If you notice, you didn't see anything in here extraordinarily expensive. No, it's things that working people had.
So you mean the value lies in the story of the item, of the piece?
Exactly. You know what? It's enjoyment.
Are you still in the process of buying and adding to this collection?
I have to stop myself.
What do you think is going to happen to this collection after Toby?
Put it this way. What happens to it after I'm not here is not my concern. All I know is that I made a mark to say that I was here. This collection says that I was here.
Why do you think people, they collect?
A lot of people, it's like two things. You ever had a lousy childhood and you didn't get everything that you wanted, or you had more money than you could spend and you kept buying the wrong thing? When you got a bad time, you're not feeling right, you can go in your room and close the door and look around. I can go build a model. I can go look at my sports room. I can go to the dial room. I can go downstairs to a 20,000 piece diorama that I painted. That's why I can't see now.
This entire collection, this collection has a very special place in your heart.
It does when you didn't have nothing. Now you got something. And everybody looks and says, wow, that's the thrill of it. You're ready.
Wow, now that's an interesting room. Which room is this one?
This is the model room, half downstairs, the rest is up here.
Wow, what's this all?
That's called a vortex. It's like being caught in a tornado that's a siphon. And if you notice, you got the old planes and you got the spaceship. So it's like a vortex. It's like caught in time. It's like a TV show, using your imagination.
Very, very nice. What's the story of this room? Why did you decide to create this room?
I created this room because I could barely make $5 a week when I was a kid. So I started buying Aurora models. And once I got a job, I just make sure I got stock. They don't sell it anymore. So if I'm the proprietor and got it all, I can set my price. And these are remakes.
Yeah.
These are look who we got here. There's Ratfink and there's the Beatles. Godzilla, Spartacus, Dick Tracy, 10-cent comic. This was in the last show that I did. A Dick Tracy G-Man gun from 1950, and it still works. Come on. Ain't that something?
This is really cool.
I don't mind spending my money when I can find something like that. That's from the 50s. Don't kill them all.
From the 50s.
From the 50s.
This piece is from the 50s.
From the 50s, and it got the Dick Tracy logo on it. That's the. And see the Dick Tracy comic and the Dick Tracy Aurora model. So
this is really
I try to put things together. They call it bundling. So if I'm gonna sell you the Dick Tracy comic, and you want to buy the model, then I'm gonna get you for the G-Man gun.
So you create sort of theme, like all together.
And if you leave something in the package, nobody's just gonna look at it and keep walking. But when you let it out there, they can see it and they can feel it. It's a different thing. And one thing about this room and downstairs, every piece I painted. Every piece. By myself. The Zulu's downstairs, that board that he just seen, that's 10,000 pieces. I did every one myself. You ought to see the paint collection downstairs. Well, Tom, welcome to my doll room.
Wow, doll room?
Something for the ladies. No sports, no dumb stuff, just strictly dolls.
Interesting. I'm really shocked to find such a room in your house. Tell me why.
They are people. I like TV and Selena, Michael Jackson.
There you go, yeah.
MC Hammer.
No way. I see Destiny's Child here.
Destiny's Child with Beyonce in the lead. They go TLC beside him.
There's Vanilla Ice.
And they go one of your favorite people. Vanilla Ice. Elvis in Blue Hawaii.
Elvis up there.
Don't leave out the Williams sisters and FloJo.
Wow, this is really an awesome collection here. And up there, there's a Barbie travel trunk.
The first travel trunks that came out, I've been hunting them down for years.
These are the first.
That's the first. That white one is the first.
The white one is the first Barbie
the other
trunk.
one.
What's this here? I'm curious to know about. Oh, Susie Homemaker Super Grill.
The neighbor's next door.
Okay.
They stole that from the neighbor. Easy Bake was first.
Easy Bake, oh
Easy
my
Bake was
God.
first.
This is so cool.
And you know what's different about this Easy Bake? It's still got all the recipes and everything in it. It's got everything in it. Nobody never played with it. Untouched, untouched.
And a Barbie house.
The Barbie house, that's the first Barbie house made out of cardboard.
Wow.
And matter of fact, nobody's ever heard of Winnie. See that box on top of the Barbie box?
Yeah.
See, it says Winnie, she walks and talks. That's from the 50s. That dog got a record that go on his chest. It actually walks, it actually dances, and I took it to the hairdresser and got her hair done.
That's really impressive. Special story. Every item here, every piece, every doll has its own
Exactly.
story. So do you think of it as your legacy and how you would like to be remembered?
Yes, yes. It says that while you was on this earth, you did something to prove that you were here. Because after life, the collection is done. Everything in here is done. It's not mine. I'm just the caretaker for that till the next person comes to get it.
What would be your message to those kids and to everyone, every even adult who are collecting stuff that they really care about right now?
Use your creativity and use your imagination, and that will take care of you every time. You can't do what I do, and I can't do what you do. It's your creation and your imagination that makes what we are today.
بعد قليل نتعرف على متخصص إعادة الحياة للسيارات وحفظها لاري كوسيلا الذي يمكنه الوصول لسيارات لا تصدق وباهظة الثمن.
The cars are actually being used, so my job is just to kind of keep this looking and preserving the feel and the integrity of the clear coat and allowing him to continue to drive.
نحن على وشك لقاء رجلين ارتقيا بهواية جمع السيارات وترميمها وحفظها إلى مستوى آخر من الشغف والتفاني، وقد سمحا لنا بالدخول إلى كهفهما السري الذي يحتوي على سيارات يندر الوصول إليها. اليوم ستتعرفون على لاري كاسيلا في رصيده أكثر من 1.5 مليون مشترك في قناته الخاصة عبر يوتيوب، ولأنه الأفضل في مجال عمله يحظى الرجل بقائمة حصرية من الزبائن أصحاب السيارات النادرة باهظة الثمن. لاري يأخذ السيارات القديمة ويحولها فعلياً إلى تحف فنية. يقال إن عمله الحرفي مكلف للغاية، وقد تصل كلفته أحياناً إلى $1 مليون أو أكثر. وليس مستغرباً تحقيقه لنسب عالية من المشاهدة والمتابعة على يوتيوب تفوق 1 مليون أيضاً. فلاري يقوم بإعادة ترميم سيارات نادرة من جميع أنحاء أوروبا والولايات المتحدة، بما في ذلك سيارات من صنع فيراري وفورد وأولدسموبيل ورولز رويس، هذا على سبيل المثال لا الحصر. دعونا نلتقي إذن المايسترو في مجال إعادة الحياة للسيارات العتيقة النادرة لاري كاسيلا، ومعه من زبائنه جيمس كليغنهاوس الذي يعتبر من أبرز المجمعين في عالم السيارات، وهو صاحب واحدة من أكبر المجموعات الحصرية النادرة من السيارات القديمة التي يحفظها في مرآبه السري في مكان ما في ولاية نيويورك. هذه الزيارة هي بالفعل امتياز خاص تنالونه معه.
Tony, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you?
Pleasure, fantastic.
It is a real privilege for us to be here today. Thank you for letting us in.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
It is a really special place. I mean, look at these beauties. For how long they've been here?
This place has been here for about 10 years. Before that, I had a smaller garage in Danbury, but it became time when I needed a larger place to hold the whole collection and also to do some of the prototyping work that we're doing for our current cars.
Amazing. I would love a tour in this place if you don't mind.
Oh, it'd be my pleasure. Let's start with this.
Let's start with this.
This is the oldest existing Ferrari.
Wow.
It's the first Ferrari that Mr. Ferrari sold, and he said he hated to sell his victorious race cars, but he needed the money to keep his factory going. this car was built in 1947, and it won many important races, including the Turin Grand Prix with the famous driver Raymond Summers. This is a 159S. The engine was designed by Colombo. It's a small, teeny V12. When you drive it, it's really like a time machine. It's the only 1947 159S in existence.
Tell me about owning a one-off. Like, what's so special? What's the thrill behind
Well,
it?
the thrill of owning a one-off is similar to really a piece of art. Art is one-off, and I'm lucky enough to really have 4 one-off cars. This one, Dino Competizione, the Pininfarina show car, the fantastic Ferrari 512S Modulo by Pininfarina, and of course Ferrari P45 by Pininfarina.
And what do we have here?
This is our 003 Competizione that raced the Nürburgring and won several times in class, and it is exactly original as it raced, and we left it as a race car.
And between vintage race cars, do you have the same affection to both of them?
Well, I think the vintage cars teach us where racing came from, and the modern cars teach us what's possible to make fantastic road legal vehicles.
So, Jim, what was the highest price you've paid so far for a car?
The highest price would be for our 412P, which is the most original P car. It was $5.5 million. But that car's worth a little bit more than that today.
What's this?
Yeah, at Le Mans in 1967, when the Ford Mark IV that we own, the Donahue McLaren car, was racing, they forgot to put a pin in the tail section, and the tail section blew off. And Bruce McLaren had to drive back, retrieve the tail, put it on the car, put his arm, and drive back to the pits. What happened was this section broke off, and a fan grabbed it. And about 45 years after Le Mans, he died, and his kids found it and contacted me via the internet and said, "You really should have this," and they sent it back.
No way.
Yeah. And,
wow.
And the cool thing to me about it is it shows you the violence of racing. I mean, you know, you look out at our collection and they're all nice and clean and cleaned up and beautiful and shiny. But after only a few hours of racing, this is what real race cars look like. And I think it's always important to remember that.
Very authentic, right?
Exactly.
Beautiful, beautiful.
This is SCG Chassis 1. It raced at the Nürburgring many times. It won in class. And one of our clients said, could you convert it into a road legal car? And as you can see, this car is fully registered in the state of New York. It has creature comforts such as air conditioning.
Wow.
It's a very comfortable car. It has a place for luggage. And this is the original race carbon fiber, simply cleaned up and coated with a UV protection for the sun. And this car has thousands of miles. This is really as close to a pure race car that you can legally drive on the road. And I think it's important to prove your engineering on a race course. And that is the largest difference, I would say, between us and other hypercar manufacturers. We actually race, and we race regularly.
This is really impressive. I just want to wake up every day here, Jim.
Oh, well, you're welcome to do that.
Thank you. Jim, how many cars do you own?
You know, I don't know that you're a real collector if you know the exact number. I think it's over 20 cars that I own for sure.
And you still really remember each and every story for every car of them?
Yes, that's really what I collect. I like the history and I like the stories of the cars and what the cars mean. I never asked or cared what a car was worth. If I could afford it and I loved it, I bought it. I never sold them, I never planned to sell them, but what I loved was the stories.
And then this passion to old cars, vintage cars, race cars, brought you to a completely different field, which is cars manufacturing.
Well, it really began when I got a call from Andrea Pininfarina and his organization, and they were looking for a customer who was willing to commission a one-off car and also, frankly, to let them show that they could still make beautiful cars. So they asked me if I would be willing to do such a thing, and I said, sure. I'm going to send you my Ferrari P34 that won the 24 Hours of Daytona, and I want you to use it for a muse, and I want to take a brand new Enzo, still in wrapping, that I was able to buy, and I want to make a modern version, sort of Ferrari P45. What the P4s would have become had they continued on into road cars. Andrea was very happy, and that's how Ferrari P45 came to be. And interestingly, that car has been to the Middle East. My friend, the Crown Prince of Bahrain, invited me to bring several of my collection to Bahrain to display at the Formula One race. And interestingly enough, he and I were standing in the tent when a gentleman came by and said that he had come from Saudi Arabia, and he had brought not only his private plane, but his private C-130, and he was going to buy Ferrari P45. He didn't know who I was, and I said, oh, really? Well, you know, I own it, and I'm not going to sell it. And he said, look, everything's for sale, and he started bidding the car up, and he offered me $40 million for Ferrari P45 by Pininfarina, and I said, no, you don't understand. I made this car with Pininfarina. It's part of my life. I'm honored that you would like to buy it, but it's not for sale, and it's more important to me than money. And he said, you know, you're the only person that ever turned me down for something, but I appreciate it. We are really trying to make race cars for the road, but cars that have history and bits and pieces of our entire collection. It's an homage to the future and the past at the same time. This car has an amazingly interesting story. It was commissioned by Queen Marie of Yugoslavia. It's a Duesenberg, but the cool thing about it is she put some very unique touches. This is a Lalique hood ornament that lights up. And the other cool thing about it is if you look at the rear, this is why we call things trunks. It literally is a trunk that could bolt onto the car, that you could put your belongings in. And if you look at the lights, if you bend down and look in, you see it says stop. So when you put on the brake, It lights up, and that's where a stoplight comes from.
It's really cool. So Jim, how hard is it to keep these ladies clean and shiny?
Well, I think it's very important, because if you use a car, it's going to be subject to rain and perhaps even some road salt, and you want to get it off as soon as you can so that it doesn't damage the car. And this is really the great thing about Larry. You know, I've known him for years.
Hello, Larry.
How you doing?
The famous Larry Cosila. Tell me, you guys, about this relationship between you two.
Well, I think when he came out with the car, I was enamored with it. I couldn't believe it, and we happened to be sort of living in the same area, and I knew that he was going for a drive, and I hopped on behind and got to drive behind it, and it was a big deal. And fast forward X amount of years later, now I get to actually preserve it. It's pretty fun.
There are some people who want to detail things so that they are at the level of jewelry, and there are other people who want to detail things to protect and preserve them. If you use a car, you're going to get a rock chip, you're going to get a scratch. Larry very gently works on detailing that out.
The idea here is that the cars are actually being used. That's kind of the difference between some collectors and, of course, Jim. He drives this, goes in the snow, the rain, the whole 9 yards. So my job is just to kind of keep this looking and preserving you know, the feel and the integrity of the clear coat and allowing him to continue to drive. That's the difference between a car that's driven versus not driven.
Jim, when you look at this in front of you, this number of collection cars, vintage cars, race cars, beautiful, precious cars and possessions, what do you see in this?
Well, I see really how lucky I am to be able to follow my dream and my passion, and frankly to share it with people by our racing and by going to concours to share my collection with people, because I enjoy meeting people and talking to them about it.
So tell me, Larry, for how long you've been in this beautiful place here?
I've been in here for about 2.5 months.
Wow, and how did you get into this business here?
I have been fanatical about cleaning things, just anything in general. As a kid, I would take a wash bucket and clean my little cars and clean the floor, just clean everything. My mom said, wow, this is a clean child. And then, you know, as the years progressed, I loved vehicles. Vehicles were a way to escape. You know, you could personify the car, you can upgrade it and change the wheels, all that kind of thing. Detailing was a great way to scratch the itch of cleaning and being around all these beautiful cars at the same time.
Tell me about the launching period. Like, was it difficult? Was it hard? Did you encounter any sort of obstacles?
When I first started the company, there wasn't a thing called YouTube.
When we opened the hood, I was expecting a bit more corrosion, but it actually looked pretty good. While Dan was working on the moldy leather, I was vacuuming out the heavy dust.
And YouTube pretty much changed everything. I was, I guess, one of the first guys, if not the first guy on YouTube, sort of showing people, reaching the mass audience and teaching them, hey, this is how you properly maintain a car, what we call a regimen, a certain way of doing things. When you're restoring them, you tickle a lot of guys who are just super fanatical about their cars. Basically, I get emails and phone calls, man, you are just the crazy person we want working on our car.
We've cleaned the inside, we've taken most of the mold off.
What do they expect from like a preservation job?
They want it to be protected. They want to remove the dirt from it. And doing that is much more technical than simply just washing the car. These types of vehicles that are very delicate, very rare, have very thin paint, very old, if you just wipe them a certain way, you've actually ruined the paint, as silly as that sounds.
I can't wait for you to show me how it's done.
Yeah, I'll show you right now.
Let's go.
All right, so here are two great examples. I have super old car, 1975, and then a little bit more of a modern car, 2009 Audi R8.
Wow.
Yeah, so everything in between we pretty much work on.
So tell me exactly what kind of treatment do you give this old car, and how is it different from the treatment that you do for the new car?
I always say the cars themselves sort of dictate what you're doing to it. So this one here is a little bit more complicated. It's a 1975 Pontiac Trans Am 455 high output. There's 857 ever made. The goal here is basically to restore it, preserve as much as we possibly can. Obviously, there's a bit of rust. We did a bit of polishing here just to kind of get an idea of what the paint could look like towards the end. We've compounded and we've polished with a couple of our machines here, and you can really see the before and after line here is quite distinctive.
Oh my God, so this is how it's gonna look at the end. What is it exactly that you do for new cars?
Well, a lot of times it's more maintenance. So what happens is I'll restore the car maybe 3-4 years ago. And then the customer will come back and I'll maintain it.
So there's a certain relationship between you and the car.
Oh, for sure. I'm encouraging people to drive their car and experience that bond, experience the washing. There is something to be said from a therapeutic nature, and just get in there and do the intricate details. Your mind kind of floats away and you have a little bit of peace. That is some blood red paint.
قد يكون أهم ما تعلمته في حلقة اليوم من خارج المسار هو أن التجميع هواية شخصية جدا يدفعها شغف داخلي خاص. لا يهم ماذا تجمع أو كم تنفق من المال والسنوات على مجموعتك الخاصة. لا يهم إن كنت سترتدين ذلك الفستان الفريد أو أنك ستستمتع بتلك الدمية النادرة أو إلى أين ستقود تلك السيارة من العصر الذهبي. فالحقيقة هي أن الأمر يجلب الفرح والسعادة لجامعي التحف والأشياء الخاصة النادرة. وهنا لب الموضوع. فالتجميع هو حالة تحكي قصة الشغف والفرح والسعادة الشخصية. وكما يقول هاوي جمع السيارات النادرة جيمس جليجنهاوس: أنا رجل مغرم بالسيارات، وعلى الواحد منا أن يستمتع بالرحلة وأن لا ينشغل بالوجهة التي يقصدها. أقول لكم في الختام: استمتعوا بالرحلة. أنا توني نداف، أراكم في الحلقة المقبلة من خارج المسار.
One other very interesting detail is this is the original Ferrari notice badge, and it's one where the horse's hoof is on the black line of Ferrari, which changed in later Ferraris to a heavier horse, and I'll show you. You can see that the nose badge changed over time, and the horse's hoof no longer is on the black line of Ferrari. So that's a little history of nose badges.
I would like to show you.
What else? What's this?
They're huts.
Oh.
This is the hut that we were buying at first. We paid $80 for this hut, and everybody loved them. And then some smart guy came up with this hut. That hut's $150. The reason that I could afford these figures is because these $150 huts paid for everything I had here. When they would go back to New Zealand, I never took money. I would tell them to buy me the figures.
Who are the subscribers to this channel?
Mostly people who are fascinated by step-by-step procedure of cleaning a car.
Any one of them from the Middle East? Like, do you have audience over there?
Absolutely. A lot of people, specifically, they watch a lot of my videos on how to wash cars in the absence of water.
And how many subscribers do you have currently?
Right now, I have, this is live right there. That's 1.63 million subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a tally, so it rolls and it updates.
1.63 million.
People watching me wash and clean the cars.